Um, yeah, I'll just wait for a few of you to start joining us. It hasn't been stressful at all. There, good. We can see you. I'm just going to open up the chat, and you can let me know who's there. How you doing, Cameron? How you doing, Jax? How you doing? Look, apologies. We've been running late. All for good reasons. Anne has got a great screen share, but it was in Keynote, and Platform doesn't allow us to put keynotes on there. So we've just been trying to work our way around it, which is fine. So good. We're recording this, and yeah, if you're watching it on replay, do let us know. So we're going to be going into this live tonight. We are going to be bringing you Anne Veck, who you could probably see on the side there. I think when she comes into the main screen, she isn't on freeze. It will unfreeze. But yeah, she's going to be talking to us about unlocking the secrets of visual story telling. I say it's going to be Anne. So I don't know how many of you will know of Anne, but Anne is one of the leading names in our industry. Fair to say she is charismatic, motivated, incredibly talented, and she is on a mission to revolutionize the world of hairdressing. And she has a residency now at the Kelly's Hair in Oxford, in the heart of Oxford City Centre, and she has established herself as an award-winning hairdresser, an absolute force to be reckoned with. So many accolades to her name, including Creative Head Most Wanted, Trend Award, Tribute France, Big One, Avant-Garde, Colour World Afro Colour Genius Award, Salon Business Awards. You get the drift. She's a big hitter in there. So currently we just see Cameron and Jax there. If you do all sit around, you've got questions, yeah, put them to that. So I'm going to just get Anne to come in now. I'm going to get you to unmute Anne, and hopefully you should land in my screen where I can see you. So hello, Anne.
Hello, everyone. Right. So what an introduction. Thank you, Dom.
I'm going to go on mute for a second, Anne, and you're just going to lead me through on the slides as we go, as we were talking about.
Okay.
Cool. Over to you.
Right. Hello, everybody. So, Dom, what an introduction. Thank you very much. Yeah, somebody described me once as a bit of a competition junkie. I can't help it. I have to enter it. I'm quite competitive. Anyway, I'm not stressed at all tonight. Everything went very well, and I'm ready to share with you some of my best creative moments, but also how I work creatively. I think it's everything can be learned, and there is a method into everything. And I just want to take you through the journey I had with Davines 18 months ago, because I was lucky to be one of the artists invited to Worldwide Hair Tour. So, Dom, if you want to play the film, and then I'll take it from there.
Enchanted forest of blue, the color of dreams, poetry, and abstraction. Deep into this boundless forest, there's a secret glade, pulsating with algorithmic life and geometric color combinations. A strange creature who has randomly arrived at the glade transforms this restorative refuge with a touch of color, both rigorous and imaginary, mathematical and sacred.
You could stop if you want. It's finished now. I always look at that film with lots of emotion because it was a really big, show, a big scene, and so on. So, so what I want to talk with you tonight is how I work creatively with somebody else's brief. So what Davines told us. So if you want to put the first image which comes after the film on the presentation, Dom. Yeah, so just the image. Yeah, so if you click on the image, okay. Are we going to enter the full screen or not, or is it just like that? Okay, no, okay, fine. Okay, let's leave it. No, reduce it because I can't see it now. So these are the images I created as for the show. So if we pass it onto the first slide, which is the slide. Oh God, I can't see. Oh God. No, not that. Oh, this is really messy. After all the images, the next slides, just keep it in the same order. Okay, that's slide number 8. That's right. So this was the brief I was given by Davines when I was first asked to be part of the show, to be one of the 6 artists to. So we were. This was an event happening over 2 days, and it was the first of its kind just after COVID. So it was a big show. And Davines took all over the town of Parma. And so they gave us this brief, which to start with really felt very complicated to me. I kept reading it and I just didn't quite understand. We will navigate in the border of organic and digital, a world more intelligent where technology, nature and human will be one. And he went on and on and on with some really big words. And afterwards, so if you just want to show quickly the following slides, this was the imagery we were given. Yeah, so if you just show the slides, Dom, just scroll down to we can see all the images. So some of it was, sorry, stop there. So it was very so very translucent. It had a real softness to it. Yeah, so carry on, follow. And basically, yeah, so carry on. So that slide there, that painting is an artist, a Japanese artist. No, the painting, the number 14. Stop at 14. It's an artist, a Japanese artist, and that was the painting I was given as part of my color palette. So I had to create colors with this in mind, which you can imagine is quite abstract. So it's not that easy, really. So if you follow on to the next slide. So, okay. So the brief said that we had to be 50% conceptual and 50% more commercial. We had to obviously inspire people, but also entertain. Yeah, I was given 6 minutes to be on stage, but I wasn't going to be on stage. It wasn't an educational thing, so it had to be very impactful. And so if you carry on, so these were some of the image we were given for the conceptual, yeah, conceptual image. Yeah, that's right. So follow, and then the next one. It's more the commercial idea. So it's quite sort of confusing when you start with a project like that. You sort of, it's a little bit overwhelming, and you sort of think, where do I start? Where do I start? You like, but in 2 words, I tried to sum it up to basically, he was where the digital world meet the organic world. So for me, I have to, when I was first given that, my first reaction was panic. I thought, oh my God, my mind goes blank and I don't have any ideas. I don't know where I'm going. And then started slowly, you know, it sort of sink into my brain. So then I tell myself story. So the following slides, okay, is basically the story I tell myself to start my creative process. Yeah. So after staying indoors with what felt like an eternity, we're altering the way we think and feel about so many things. And one of them is hair color. Remember, this was happening just after COVID, and everybody can probably relate to this. We did some amazing big color transformation in a salon. So while we have some clients who obviously were embracing their natural color, other was making bold statement and with really block colors of blonde, brunette, redhead. And because many offices were still closed, a lot of people felt like they didn't need to adhere to a strict code of color, and they were a little bit more adventurous. So I started looking into color blocking, what it meant. And then I came with this, I got a little bit obsessed with the Yves Saint Laurent dress, the Mondrian dress, which was, you know, really big in the 60s and 70s. And of course, where the color block were really at its best, sort of thing. So if we move up to that, go on to the next slide. So then this is when I tell the story. Go back down a bit so I can read. Yeah. So I had to, so I imagine model, no, so we need, oh yeah, so we need to show model transformation on stage. That's what I had originally in mind, especially because 6 minutes is a long time when you do a show. So you've got to have things happening. Otherwise, if it's just catwalk, it's a little bit repetitive. So model either already on stage, wrap up like a cocoon, or structure on the hair to be removed by a gardener. Remember, it's my imagination going wild here. So the dancer gardener touches the model, either with a water can or I don't know, a magic wand or something, and the model come to life or come out of the cocoon. Music starts slow, then build up, and in the end, all the model feature the 1960s dress of Yves Saint Laurent. So move up the next slide. So this was my, when Davines gave me their brief, this was my proposal to them. Okay, so if you move up to the next slide. So this really what I wanted to do, incorporating the Hirokati Dajima painting, because I was given that painting as the color palette. And then the next one is my conceptual. So I had to present this idea to a panel of people, which was quite different to me. I've never had to do that. Whenever I did anything creative, I was the artistic director, the creative director, the whatever. So I said what went or what didn't go. So that was the first time I had to, you know, refer to somebody else. So you go back up, and the next slide is their feedback to me. They didn't like my idea at all of Yves Saint Laurent dress. And I think they thought it was just a little bit too crazy with the cocoon and the stuff, and it was just a bit, they're probably thinking, blimey, what has she been smoking before she told us? So can't quite read actually. Yeah, so there's sort of the weakness of the idea for them was the Yves Saint Laurent dress, saying that it wasn't really contemporary enough, and opportunity. So they like the 60s reference, and they put in the back at the bottom there some of the image they wanted me to do. That's like the bottom image there, which I didn't really want to do because that'd been done before. It was the pixel, and I thought, well, okay, this has all been done before and been done very well. So I had to really, but there was one thing I learned out of that is Mondrian. So of course we have Piet Mondrian, the artist, who created color blocking, But a Mondrian forest is also something used in the computer world. It's an algorithm. I can't tell you much more about it than that. But that was my connection of the digital world and the organic world, my Mondrian forest. So if you move up, then after that, I started really I've taken the painting and all the little square you see is on Photoshop, I extract the color from that painting. And I thought, okay, I can start creating with this. So I just, well, working really. So the next slide is explaining to you what is a Mondrian forest. So classification algorithm after Piet Mondrian, the Dutch painter. So if you see on the left side, Piet Mondrian is very well known for all this color blocking and encased with a black line, which really makes your color pop out. So basically what I did was, unfortunately, none of the video are going to work now, so never mind. So I created the hairpiece, the color, trying to recreate this little square of colors, but using the color from the painting. So let me just get this. Whoops. Okay. So can everybody see? Can you see? Can you? Hang on. Oops. Okay. So I'm just going to move my computer a little bit. Right. Okay. So this is the hairpiece I've created to go with this this color and the square. So because when you work creatively, you've got to. I also had to work on hair pieces because I was working with performing artists, and of course they weren't going to let me do anything to the hair. So I had to think quite cleverly how I could then make a hairstyle out of this. Yeah. So I did 2 of those pieces. Okay, and then on the day I just placed it on the model's head. Yeah, so there's another one here, same one. If we go back on the presentation, Dom, you can we go back on the presentation. Okay. So you see on the slide, so basically I worked vertical and I put my painting on a, I don't know the word, is that an SL or something like that? Like a painter. And I literally painted the square, and then I put masking tape to really make it very precise. So if we move on to the next slide. So this kind of color, I've also used it before on a much more commercial way when I was just doing little square of colors on model. So if you move on to the next slide, this is just how I use one idea, and you can either make it quite big, so quite avant-garde like this one, or a little bit more, I mean, it's commercial, you know, obviously when she's got the hair in front of her face, it's not commercial, but incorporating the bob, I think it's very commercial. So if you move on to the next slide again. So that's another way, creative way to use this technique of little squares of colors. This one I went on, you know, just black and white, but repetitive. And it's visually, this is a very interesting picture because it's just a very small hair piece, but visually it's got a really strong impact. And I find that when you do something repetitively, it's quite visually very attractive. So if you move on to the next slide. Oh, well, unfortunately, so that's not going to work. That's a film of that you could see a little bit. And that's obviously my, yeah, this is the formula of the color. So we're not here to talk colors. That's fine. Yeah, so if we move on to the next slide. So the next thing I did, the next style, hang on, let me just move. Right, is this one. Okay. and again, how I went to create the color. So so what I did with this hairpiece is I discovered something really. Maybe people who are very good at color probably can, you know, they already know. But anyway, I took some hairpiece which already had some color on it, and this was, so what you can see on the left there, the image, it's had splodges of color, of direct color, colored conditioner. But the hair is really long, and anybody who works with extension know that a 60 centimeters hair costs an absolute fortune. And I knew that if I was going to bleach that hair or try to get rid of this color, I would have damaged the hair. So I didn't want to do that. So this hairpiece already had some color, but I wanted it a lot more muted. So what I did is over the top, I did a very ash toners, and it really muted the all the colors together and gave me this gorgeous, gorgeous color. I don't know if you can just give me the screen again so people could see.
Back to you, did you say, Anne? You want the screen back to
Yeah,
you?
if you just stop showing that's it, like that. Yeah. So you can really see these amazing colors all muted together. And that was by depositing the color first and then doing your toner all over. The shape here, I had another challenge on for the show. Is, I don't know if you noticed, my model were very their routine was quite a lot of head movement, and I was just terrified that everything would go flying off. But I needed that to look a bit alienish. So I'm just going to show you the construction I did underneath the hairpiece to give me this beautiful shape. So bear with me. Okay, so this is a plait. It's quite a simple plait, really, the figure of an 8. But what makes it beautiful, I think, is the fact I've done quite long, and it took me forever to do this because each section I let out with my figure 8 is very small, and again very repetitive and very consistent in how much of the hair I let out as I'm doing my plait. So, and then underneath I constructed a couple of plaits on my model. Yeah, so what I've got is I've put the head in a middle parting, did a plait, which is this plait underneath, a scalp plait, fitted a padding to create the shape, and then plaited above it. That really is just to create the base in order to fix my hairpiece to get that really beautiful shape. Right, so okay, so if you can put the presentation back on. Well, whatever. Yeah. Could you put the presentation back on? Okay, so if we move on to the next slide now. Oh yeah, okay. Well, as again, these are videos, so we can't show them. That's a shame. Okay. So the next one, it's I'm very proud of it because if you look on the so the next one is this one. Okay. So and if you look at, yeah, okay. So this is the bob. Okay. And I very much went. I used the wig just like a painting. So if you go back on a presentation, and if you look at the reference painting I have on the right side, can you put a little bit more? That's it. I think I'm really bang on the reference image. I didn't think I could be that it could be that good, but I really do think I've got it just right in terms of the tone of the color and how I did the line. So so if you just go back down a little bit so I can see the wig. The wig, yeah. No, go back. Like that, yeah. So basically, the underneath of the wig is just one color. What I wanted is I also didn't want just to work on the surface of the wig because I knew my model were going to be dancing. I wanted some color within the depth of that wig, yeah? So I created the shine line first. So by putting the, you know, the dark blue on the roots and on the end, like my shine line. And afterwards, I painted the black line first, waited for that color to dry a little bit, and then I literally colored inside the shape I was doing. I was working outside actually because it was a really sunny day that day, and he dried the color dried really quickly, and he made it very easy for me to paint within my shapes. So that's quite. I also discovered that I didn't need to worry too much about the color bleeding because once it dries, it doesn't bleed. So that was quite interesting. And the hairpiece you see on the left side of the screen is before I let myself loose on the wig, I practice on the hairpiece. Anybody working in show and so on know that hairpieces or wigs cost a lot of money. So I couldn't just go with the wig and just like if it didn't work. So I made so many hairpieces for this show. I was either trying color, trying formulating, you know, I didn't quite like the shades because of course I had this reference of the painting that I had to really keep in mind. So if we go on to the next slide. Oh yeah, sorry. Stay on that one. No, go back. And then this one, sorry, just give me a minute. Again, if you give me the screen again, if you stop the... All right, so I also wanted my model to... These were the baddies, yeah? They had to be alienish a bit. So this was a very simple shape, very sort of, you know, the bob, but they had to be a bit alienish. And remember, they were dancing with their head moving all over the place. So again, I'm going to show you how I build underneath. So, oops. So each model had a scalp plait going all around their head, something like that. Okay, and a donut, a very small donut on the top, and the wig was sewn onto the plait. I have to say it took us so long to get the wigs out because I was so worried they would be flying across the stage that they were sewn in, like they weren't going to move. So every model you saw had this kind of preparation underneath, yeah, in order to give the shape. I wanted the raised crown, like so. Yeah, so it's quite subtle, but it does look slightly alienish. Okay, so if we move on to the next one. So if we go back on the presentation. Yeah. So the next presentation is, remember, we're supposed to be in a wood. So in my dream, it's a beautiful wood with absolutely no pollution, no whatsoever. And in a beautiful wood, you have lots of moth like that growing on the tree. And this was my interpretation of this moth. This took forever to do. So this is, originally it's an acrylic wig, which I took small pin, figure of an 8, but all the colors is real hair. And basically, I used all the hair I used during the creative process to sort of experiment on color and formulating the right shades, and then I just put it in the wig. So if we move on to the next presentation. Okay, yeah, so that's all the stuff together. So hang on. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, that one. Yeah, okay. So this one is simple and not so simple. It just took a long time. The concept of this wig is very simple in a way, but it took a long time to do because it's the sheer amount of setting I had to do on a pin. Let me show you now this other wig, my second. Whoa. Right, okay. So this one, okay. So this one is the second alien, and again, I then went a little bit more with the Mondrian, the Piet Mondrian dress with the black line separating the two colors. Yeah. And then at the front, I'm not sure you can pick it up on the camera there, but again, I used colored conditioner, which I applied first, and then I do a toner all over to really smudge it together. So there is some sort of very, very subtle shades of color. I'm not sure it can be picked up on this camera, but anyway, it's there. Believe me. Okay, so should we go on the next slide? Okay, yeah, so I'm just showing you a little bit how I did it. Again, before I let myself loose on the wig, I tried on hair pieces, which is what you can see on the right side of the screen. Okay, so my other character was the beautiful princess. So if we go next, the next slide. Okay, so the next slide is this one. Okay, and that's really it was also, this show was the first time I was working entirely on wigs, not using at all the model's hair. So that was really interesting for me because I didn't think actually I could do that, to be honest. So this is really, you know, quite a simple concept. We've got half and half, but with this yellow, which really makes it all pop. And I wanted her to be a bit romantic, so I set it, you know, and then just got the wig, the wave out like this. Oh yeah, I can't quite see what I'm doing because I don't have a mirror, but okay. So when you, if you want to get a bit of width on your wave, so you do your setting, and then with your comb, you have to put your comb, find the ridge of your wave underneath, and then just push a little bit like so. And you'll see that I'm going to expand on those waves and really make them quite nice and deep. And so this wig, I added hair to the wig to make it a little bit more fuller and bigger, yeah. And I do love the color there. They're very, very soft and really pretty. Yeah, so you can really, really expand on this and just have a fun shape going on. So, okay, so if we go on to the next slide. Okay. Should we go back? Yeah. Okay, so sorry. Okay. So because I've done, so this was how I created all the look for this show. When I worked with Davines. Oops, sorry, hang on. When I worked with Davines. However, I didn't want to give up on my idea of my Piet Mondrian, of my Yves Saint Laurent dress, and I was determined to put it into a collection. So I went back and work on this brief for myself and see how can I make a collection out of this. So the following year, after I've done this project, I prepared my yearly collection, which I present for various hair awards. And don't go too fast. And basically, I created my Mondrian, and I called it Mondrian. So go back. Yeah, okay. So past the next slide. Okay, and then so that's another take on and this, yeah, sorry. So this one is another take on the Mondrian. You know, you put a couple of lines and it's really color blocking with a different version of it. If you go on the next slide. So basically, I took the work I did for this Davines, because this took me forever to do this. I worked on that show for about 6 months, and I thought, okay, how can I translate that in something a little bit more commercial? And you can see with this model, it's exactly the same. She did have a black line separating the blue from the yellow. So she had the pink, which was half a head, a smallish section of yellow, and the section of black with that black line. The black line was very, very, very fine, but it really was good because it really made the color pop out. And this color, of course, is quite strong, but the model really, really liked it. And actually, she kept it for quite a while, which was, to me, the biggest compliment I could get, because it means that, okay, then it's translating something from a show to a bit more of a commercial idea. So the next slide, this is me actually doing the Mondrian dress. As I say, I really, it became a bit of an obsession. So this was the wig, okay, with exactly recreating the color block of the dress. This took quite a while to do because the line aren't that easy to do, especially black. You really don't want to smudge too much, and they always ended up a bit thicker than I wanted. But I do think it worked well on that wig. It was really cool. So if we go on to the next slide. Okay, so this is what I was trying to do. Is I was trying to either take it quite commercial. So the image on the left is very, we do that in a salon, definitely. The one on the right, that was really, it was sort of toning this down to get something a bit more commercial. Yeah, so this was the starting point, but then I wanted to do it on a real person. I have to say I was really lucky this model let me do it. And I was a bit worried that it would leave her with the horrible color, but actually it faded really nicely. She lost the square of color quite quickly, and then the darker rouge just faded really, really nice. If we go back to the presentation. So I just really, yeah, and then again, so still the Mondrian idea, but really in a much, much more commercial way. Then the following slide. So the picture on the left is, I didn't want to waste all these hair pieces, so I used it on the shoot. This shot, when you do photo shoots, sometimes you're a bit lucky and you have like it's one hit wonder, this one. I just put a hair, this is the model with the black and red hair. So I just put a hair on the side, ponytail. The other side looked terrible, full of pins. but that shot really works. So just one of those. Again, it's a video we can't see. So, okay. So that's me doing the actual model. That was a hair. Whenever I work on shoot, I don't take it for granted that I've done it before or I've got experience or whatever. I try everything and I practice everything. And I can't say that enough to anybody who start practice. So you could see there is a mannequin head on the top right corner. I practice on a mannequin head because I needed to do it on a real head. I just want, it's one thing to work on a piece, on a hair piece, because you can have it flat. But if it's somebody's head, you can't really put a head flat. So I did it first of all on a mannequin head, and then I did it on my model. It took forever. She had so much hair. It was quite something. Okay, so the following slide is is that winning look. So you can really see actually when I just took the picture myself. So and I actually ended up doing that, offering it in the salon, just to put a very small black line. And client, it really, I think it's quite. Often people say to me, "Yeah, but why you do all these creative works?" It's like you don't really use it in the salon, and actually you do, because client wants to know what I'm up to, and I'm able to translate it into the salon afterwards. So that's really nice. Yes, the next slide is again how I did that work. Yeah, I think the following one is again how I did the Mondrian dress. So I did get a little bit obsessed with this Mondrian dress, I have to say. I even went as far as making the dress, knowing I can't even do any sewing. So that's quite... And then, so this picture is from a different collection. Is I tried to take this square color, the color blocking, to a different level, this time using a lot more the negative space. And I really do like that wig. I think it looks really cool. And again, this is something I've done in the salon, working with just two colors. And you can create something quite stunning with obviously changing your color placement. So before we go on to the next slide, are you coming back on it and talk a bit, Dom, or am I still doing all the talking?
Yeah, I'm here.
Right.
Just,
so,
do you want to go on to the next slide, Anne?
well, it really is. It's a bit difficult because I haven't been able to show all the videos, so it's been a lot quicker than I expected. But so if people do have any question, maybe of how I had to work.
Yeah. Can I just say, Anne, that I know we had quite a bit of fun beforehand, because Anne, to be fair, had got it on Keynote and with the videos, and unfortunately, neither of us knew that it doesn't allow us to share Keynote. So I think in the future we have to use Canva. But I must say, on behalf of everybody, just watching that is spectacular. And I honestly, I'm sitting here, and thinking how privileged are we to be seeing this, and your inner thinking. You are really one of the greats at doing.
Oh, thank you, John. Thank you.
You truly are, and I'm sure everybody that watches this would have to so agree with that. But what comes over is your complete love and passion for this. Why?
I don't know. For me, it's borderline obsession, to be honest. When I start working on an idea, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try to. It's the other thing is I'm a bit hyperactive. So when I start working on an idea, it sort of calms me down a little bit. It's I don't know. Like some people take knitting, I take on
Yeah, well, you do it well. And Samantha's just asked a good question. She asked, Samantha Blues, how do you get the lines so straight?
The tail of the comb. I use metal tail comb. Oops, sorry. And then, but she's good. It's a good question because it took me forever to get it right. And I just put a little bit of tint on my comb, and I just go on the hair like that. But the line, if I want to be honest, they always ended up, oops, sorry, a little bit thicker than I would have liked, because by the time, so basically I would just, put tint on the comb and just go boom. But of course, when you put the next section and the next section, it ended up being a little bit thicker than I wanted. But the more I practice, the better it becomes, basically. But yeah, the tail of a comb.
Yeah, I'm just looking again. Sarah said she loved the story behind it all. Thank you so much. Which I
Thank
agree.
you.
I think that's why I feel it's so special to get this is, the whole thinking and the process. And I love how we start with the show, and it really gives us that visual into that. Cameron, who's based in Australia, by the way, just for you to know that.
Hi
He's a
Cameron. Hi
beautiful
Australia.
yeah, he's does great things. Again, Samantha just said, I loved how we could see how you brought your ideas alive, which is lovely to hear. Safi's just said here, giving me more a buzz for my next avant-garde shoot, seeing all your creativity. Love it all. What would you say to Safi in terms of working on a creative shoot? Certainly, where what I liked is how you take it, you've got these hair pieces that you've used for a show, you've turned it commercial, but you've also used them for awards and photographic.
Yeah.
So maximizing.
Sorry, say the question again. What would I, what
Yeah,
advice?
what would you, so what advice would you give to Safi, who's maybe going about doing her next avant-garde shoot?
It's really to work with a mood board, because if you do an avant-garde collection, and I'm talking for myself there, it is avant-garde is really separate from everything. You work on an avant-garde for me anyway, for months, because sometimes I get going and I start plaiting something and it takes forever to do. So my mood board helps me to bring me back to my original ideas, because I start there and then 3 months later I've gone in all sorts of direction, and of course I've got to bring it back to the core of what I was trying to do. Because when you do a collection, it's the word collection, it has to be 6 image which goes together, which and tells a story. There is a connection. So the mood board is a really, really important. I always think that sometimes people make their mood board in the days where before we went digital, people spend so much time doing their mood board with some fancy piece of twigs or fancy. And to me, there's just like, I don't know, mood board is a working document, and I really use it, and I use it also to communicate with the other team what I want to do. So it's depending on how long she works. If she's a fast worker, then that's great. But when I do an avant-garde, it takes me forever of amount of work, and I always get back to my mood board and I record everything. I take pictures, and because it's really important what the naked eye see. It's not what the camera can see. So sometimes a hairpiece look like horrible on the naked eye. I say, oh my god, it's like, but on picture it looks amazing. So
I noticed that, when you were sharing that all through, that you kind of do log everything, don't you, Anne? Because I guess
do.
you did take them pictures thinking that you were going to put this into a presentation. I
did it to start with for myself, because I forget how I do things. Because I work on, especially on avant-garde, I can work on avant-garde for about 4 months. There's minimum 4 months of work. I'll do something 4 months later, I forgot how I've done it. So I have to record how I've done it. So originally I did it for myself, but then I was asked to teach, and I thought, well, actually, I might as well share that with people, because if he's helped me, he must help everybody else. So that's why, really.
I must just say, Anne, that this has been brilliant for you to come in to do this in Platform, isn't it? And actually present it. I know it's been a bit disjointed for you, but actually I thought it worked really smoothly once we got around it. We worked in a team. But yeah, just to let people know, you know, what you're going to be doing with this presentation.
So I've been asked again by Davines. Actually, I'm going to be doing an event called Romance in Parma, and they've got customer coming from Australia, and I have to spend 2 days inspiring them. So I'm using this platform to practice my presentation to them. So I hope you liked it. Hopefully I won't have any mishap with the technicality of it. My film will work. And of course, when it's a 2-day presentation, I'll be doing actually hair rather than just talking about it.
Yeah, I think the only things that we were missing, it was a couple of the videos that were added to it in.
Yeah,
but
I
have to say, I love this in Platform. It's a bit like you know, the comedians that go out and do their comedy sets, be you know, in the O2, but they like to kind of just have a little go at working it, presenting it to a smaller crowd of people. So it would be lovely to get your comments in here and just to let Anne know what you thought of it. I can already see that you've all loved it.
Oh yes, please.
And everybody's,
please.
You know, we've got a small audience in terms of, you know, 8-10 people here, but everyone stayed with it. And that is so good. And what I must say that this is all being recorded, so it's going to go into the video library. And if you are seeing this on replay, let us know, and certainly let Anne know. Give her feedback. You know, what have you loved about this most, and you know what she's taken. Sarah just said, great. Sam said, well, I don't think you will have a problem inspiring anyone. Sam did ask another question here, which, what's the best wigs to use?
It depends on your budget. So my wigs come from Sleek, and they're middle of the range wig. I always take wigs color 613, so blonde, so I can color them. Generally speaking, with wigs, it's okay to darken, but don't bleach, because then the hair goes to chewing gum, really. I mean, you can bleach, but you have to be very, very careful, very slowly, so my wigs are from Sleek, and they are mid-range price. You know, I don't spend a fortune on them. They're not.
What sort of price do you pay? What could we expect?
£120, something like that. 120.
You've got to make sure, as you said in your presentation, you've got to look after those wigs, haven't you? Make sure you get the best out of them. It really
and
is.
I'm really very, very careful on the hair. Like I'm never aggressive with hair, because I just try to reuse it as much as possible, because it costs a fortune, really, literally. I mean, this hair there, the 60, that's just like gold dust. So yeah.
Awesome.
Jax is just
mesmerizing. Thank you so much. It really was, Anne. I'm not just saying this for you to hear.
Thank you. Sharing
and seeing that work is just stunning. I'd love it if you could share some of those images into Platform as well. Certainly,
yeah, definitely, of course.
We're only sharing this for our pro members. This isn't for our free community, and I want them to see what they've been missing, because it really, honestly, it's such an honor. I can't keep saying that enough, because I know yourself, and I think everybody that sat here watching this with you know who you are as one of our leading and one of our greats in the industry. Do you teach this kind of work?
Yes. So what I'm doing now, if I could just do a little bit of self-pitch of what I'm up to.
Please,
now.
go ahead.
So people know a little bit about me. I used to have a salon, which I kept for 31 years. And last year I sold the salon. And I don't want to stop hairdressing, that's for sure. I didn't sell to the word retirement. But I want to do more education. So I'm teaching. Yes, I can teach avant-garde classes. Whenever I teach avant-garde, I always try to have an element of commerciality, which is what I try to put in a presentation. You take the work there, but you can also bring it back there, because at the end of the day, you know, you can't really do that on client, but you can take an element of it and do it to clients. So I teach color, I teach definitely avant-garde work, but the one class I'm very keen on at the moment is my textured hair class. So my journey as a hairdresser is I didn't touch Afro hair until I had my own salon, and I'm guilty to turn clients away because I didn't know how to do their hair. And of course, this is crazy. You can't really turn business away. So I went out of my way to learn how to do Afro hair. So I went on courses. I went to, I'm talking about over the years, like 20 years ago. I didn't do that recently. And so in the salon in Oxford, we went from doing no textured hair to, it's about now, I mean, our salon is mainly Caucasian, but we do have about, I'd say 25%, 30% now of clients with Afro hair. And more, this is changing, especially at the moment. There's a big movement with people, curly, coily hair, who wants to be able to go in any salon. So my course is very much my journey, how I taught myself, and it's how to really not being scared of Afro hair, really, and how to manipulate the hair safely without creating breakage and without being overwhelmed by the volume, because that's what it is. The hair is very voluminous and it's like a bit scary. So it's to take away this. So I am teaching a class. I've got one coming up quite soon. I think it's the 8th of April. I'm not 100% sure, but I'll put it on the. It will be
all in as well.
Pardon?
We'll make sure we put all the right links in.
Yeah.
When it goes in the video library.
That's right. It will be in Oxford, actually, with Capital Wholesale. And yes, I'd love to have as many people as possible. But I'm also, if you really are interested in me coming to your salon, the best thing is to message me. And because I'm an all-around stylist, hairdresser, I have been around a long time. I can even teach you perming.
But you wouldn't just do perming, Anne.
Pardon?
A real creative perming.
Yeah, and you know, perm are back. Definitely, we do perm in the salon.
Yeah, absolutely. We get beautiful looks, very on trend now.
I know. So yeah, this is what I'm up to. I'm trying to also do a bit more teaching back in France, which is an interesting journey for me, very challenging, because I learn all of this side of hairdressing. I learn it in England in English. So actually to translate it for me is really hard, really hard. But it's good. I like challenges.
What I would suggest, just going to round things up now, Anne, because it's just been a beautiful time in your company tonight. Lorraine here. Hey, Lorraine. I haven't seen you come into a live, so it's nice to have Lorraine join. She just said, you are a true inspiration, and I love all your sustainability work.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Some really powerful. Have a listen to our podcast that we had with Anne. Sarah just said here, it was a pleasure being on stage with Anne at Salon International, because Anne joined us on the Platform live stage, and tonight has been another inspiring session. Yeah, it's I just kind of really repeat what everybody's saying. What I would suggest to you, Anne, is that, and everybody really, that's a pro member, if you have seen, like, get in our hair directory, and very easy, just do that, put your details in, and we'll put all your details, but I'll put it in the replay there. And I just want to take this opportunity once more to say thank you so much for doing this.
My pleasure.
Absolutely delightful, and I hope that we can do more of these. And you've certainly absolutely smashed this tonight, minus the half hour later, which was of your own. it was just one of those things that we picked up on.
Do you know,
So
I thought I should really send in my presentation just in case it doesn't upload on my hand. I should have done that. But anyway.
well,
So,
I see Jax is here tonight. She's doing a rock up and share very soon. So, and again, anybody that does any of these, you can do it. But I think probably you can do them presentations now really good in Canva. So I highly recommend Canva, because then you could do the screen share from that. But
okay.
yeah, Canva's the way forward on all these presentations now. But look, thank you everybody that's joined, and please do reach out to Anne, get in touch and say we are going to put this into the video library in a couple of days. So Anne, it will be there forevermore for people as the community gets bigger and bigger. Yeah, I just want to say thank you. So when I end this live, Anne, we'll be parting ways. So
Okay, thank you very much. Thank
okay,
you very much for having me.
all right. Good night to you
Okay.
all. Have a lovely evening, and thank you again.
Okay, bye. Right.